Good morning, Combine. Good morning, Duke.
There you are.
Good morning, Dad.
What do you got? Oh, I see. You're putting on a show, huh?
Oh, good morning. It's Saturday, October 19th. It's MEA weekend, which is normally on the farm when we'd start to harvest corn. That's not going to be the case this year. Yesterday was kind of a big day here. I didn't take any footage because we were just, excuse me, we were just busy. I had help come over. My buddy Matt came over and we got the duals put on the combine. So this thing's ready to go. I did a few other last minute maintenance things on it. Every time you think you've got it all ready to go, there's usually one or two more things that you discover. Once we had the combine ready to go, I went out in the bean field and was looking at the beans, and I felt like the beans were getting dry enough that I could start to harvest. But we weren't really sure because the plants seemed a little bit green and tough yet. So we went out and we shelled out some pods and thought, okay, we don't have a moisture tester, but our neighbor does. So we thought, well, we should probably take the combine, run a pass down the field, get enough beans in the hopper that we can do a moisture test, and then see where we're at. So we did that, and it was a good first little run with the combine. I dug the header into the ground and then ran it a little too high at first. So there's going to be a learning curve, and this machine doesn't have automatic flotation on the header, so you really have to be watching it the whole time you're using it. And from above, looking down, it's kind of hard to tell where it's at height-wise. So like with a lot of things, it's probably just going to be a matter of getting a feel for it. So anyway, we made that pass and then got the moisture test results back late last night, and it was 11% in the beans, which is perfectly fine for harvesting. So I went to bed thinking I'd get up this morning, get out here early, get some wagons ready, and maybe by 10 in the morning start harvesting. Well, at 7 o'clock this morning it was raining. It didn't rain much, but it was enough to wet everything down, and so now it's about 11 o'clock and I just got out here. Things are damp, so now I'm gonna do some wagon maintenance and get things ready a little bit more, and maybe by afternoon here we can get out in the field again. It's kind of nice that we're finally getting started. I forgot to mention, before I said that normally we'd be harvesting corn on MEA weekend. This is kind of when we would start to do that. We would have had the soybeans off before this on an average year. We did moisture test the corn too. It's at 30% yet, so it's probably going to be a couple of weeks. We will probably be into November before we can start harvesting corn. There's supposed to be rain on Monday all day, so I guess whatever I can get done between now and Monday I'll do, and then everything will just, any beans that I don't get harvested will have to wait until after that. So I've talked about my dad a bunch, and you're probably wondering why he hasn't been in any videos so far. Right before I started kind of doing this farm vlog, YouTube, whatever you want to call it, Dad had to go in for surgery on his foot. He had an infection in his foot and had to have, I wouldn't say minor, but not a huge surgery done. So he's actually got to stay in the house off his feet. Part of the reason I've been out here so much is that normally he would do a bunch of prep work, and I would sort of come out for the bigger things. So because he's recuperating, I've been doing a lot of the preparation and getting ready for stuff, and I was planning on being the one to run this combine when we bought it anyway, so that's kind of why we focused on that. You'll be seeing more of Dad. He's recovering pretty well, and within another week or so, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out and about more. It's driving him crazy. He hates being cooped up in the house, but he's under doctor's orders not to put weight on his foot while he's healing up. So be patient. Dad will be in some videos coming up. I really like him to be in some videos, so we'll get there. He'll be around more. Might as well check the beans quick. Pods are a little damp. Plants are a little damp, so yeah, we gotta wait. Good. Statistical fact: 7.38% of every farmer's life is spent checking tire pressure. Farm All M, 1950. It's an oldie but a goodie. We use this for all kinds of little jobs on the farm, and it is still useful. Grabbing some wagons to pump up some tires. Now the wild cucumbers really got out of hand this summer, apparently. Nice. Right about there. All right, 3 wagons checked. All the tires are pumped up. Well, it's a little after 2 o'clock. Everything's nice and dry. I had lunch, so we're gonna go for it. We're gonna see what happens. Oh, hey guys, I owe a little bit of an apology here. I did all that footage of fixing up this combine, and then I got very little footage of actually using it so far. Just to give you a rough timeline here, I spent Saturday and Sunday combining. I got the field by our driveway done, and then I got this field by our main county road mostly done. I kind of stopped because I had 2 gravity boxes full of beans, and I wanted to be able to put a tarp on them because it was going to rain all day Monday, and it did. It's Tuesday now. So part of this field by the road is still left to go. I didn't want a gravity box half full because then you can't tarp it decently, and we don't have a shed to put them in, so we kind of had to stop where it was logical. Anyway, it turns out it's really hard to get footage operating this machine. It takes both your hands and all of your attention to run the steering wheel and the hydraulic header control and watch out the windshield and try to keep gauging your header height. That's something I didn't anticipate. This combine, being as old as it is, doesn't have automatic header control. It doesn't have a flex header. It's got a rigid grain header, which means that the cutter bar doesn't flex to the ground, and it's really hard to get these beans shaved off close and not leave too many in the field. Let me show you here what I'm talking about. So like you can see, here's a typical plant after I went through. I'm leaving a bunch of pods on here, and it's maybe a little bit hard to see if I can get the camera down real low. You know, a flex header would have shaved these right down tight to the ground, and instead I left quite a few beans in this field. I was not real happy with the results. This is the old 13-foot header that came with the machine, and you can see under the skid plates here there's actually like some angle iron supports that go under there. Those brackets underneath the header hit the ground before the cutter bar is down where you want it. So you really can't get as close to the ground as you'd like. Oh, that's better. It's really windy, so it's hard to keep the microphone from sounding like garbage, I'm sure. Honestly, I think probably the best fix is going to be to find a 213 flex header, a newer version. This combine, being a newer model 55, has an intermediate feeder house on it, which means it'll take the newer flex heads. The only problem with them is that the reels on the newer flex heads, the 213s and so on, are hydraulically driven, and there isn't a circuit for that on this machine. But some guys have modified them to be mechanically driven, and others have taken hydraulic pumps off of different headers and made it work somehow. So I'm pretty sure we could be that ingenuitive if we needed to be. But then I think we'd have a flex head that would follow the ground better and could probably be controlled a little bit more accurately from the cab. Maybe rig up some kind of a gauging device. So that's all for next year. Does that mean I'm dissatisfied with this combine? No, not at all. It actually threshed the beans out wonderfully. The beans that made it into the machine looked great. It does a great job in every other regard. We just have to figure out the header thing. I just didn't know that with soybeans, and I should have known, this seems logical. I just didn't know that with soybeans you have to get right down and practically shave the ground with your cutting head to be able to do a nice job. So we need to figure out how to get that done, and if we can solve that problem, this will be a fantastic machine for us to keep using for a long time. Alright, so a little combine update. I hate to give up on something without feeling like I tried every avenue possible. So we're going to do a little material removal. Here's these brackets that interfere with getting the head down as low to the ground as you can. Because this is an old header, and it's not like we're going to really be able to sell it or trade it to anybody, I'm just going to take a grinder and I'm going to grind those brackets off, because I don't really know how much they're adding to the stability of the head, and I don't really care. We're going to just see if I can get it down that much lower, and if I can get another inch to inch and a half closer to the ground with those shaved off, then it's worth it. We'll give it a shot and see what we can do. At least it'll be a good experiment.
Oh, it hurt. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Dad, how do you feel to be back on your feet again?
I feel taller. Yeah, it's good.
What are we doing this morning?
We're going to pick up our cover crop seed over in Dundas, Minnesota at Warner Seed.
I gotta ask you an honest question.
Yeah.
What would you rather do? Plow or plant cover crops in the fall?
Well, I believe the cover crop thing would be on the top of the list right now.
But you like plowing, right?
Well, yeah, I do like plowing. But I can always plow for somebody else.
Well, hey, that's a good point.
Well, there you go.
Unless we convince everyone to do this.
Yeah, well, that might take a little while, but we'll see what we can do.
Well, there we go. We just got back from Warner Seed, and that's our cover crop seed. Dad's gonna start drilling it in today. Fueling up. My efforts yesterday to grind off those brackets, I'll just show you here. Underneath the header, they already look like they've been gone for, you know, 50 years, because they scraped the ground a little and made them look nice and worn already. But those brackets, I removed that now, and those are down at the level of these skid plates that were fitted under here. So I actually can get this header right down on the ground. It still takes a lot of diligence and paying attention to it while you're operating it. And I did slug a nice big wad of corn stalks into the feeder house yesterday, so that was real fun. But I guess that's just part of the deal with doing no-till and having this setup. So anyway, we're gonna have a big day here. I'm gonna get this thing fired up, grease it a little bit, and since I can use it now and feel like I do a better job harvesting, I'm gonna finish that field out by our main county road, and then I'll bring it back, and if there's time, I'll start working on this field over here and go as long as I can today. The weather's nice and we gotta keep rolling as best we can. We don't have a lot to do, but you know, every hour counts and you want to get done in plenty of time. So that's what we're up to today. Hopper's getting a little full, need to shuffle it. But look at this. That is a really nice, clean grain sample. If you can get the beans in this combine, it'll clean them. If anyone's wondering where all the rocks in Scott County are, I found them. They're all here. You can call off the search. Unloading. Okay, well, I'm back at the farmstead here. I got that field out by our main county road done. And this is kind of exciting. Wanted to show you this. Here's Dad seeding in cover crops. It's a good day. We got everything running out here. And that sure beats doing tillage. I just hope the stuff comes up. We'll find out pretty soon, I guess.
I thought you were coming to help.
Well, I'll help. I just wanted to Oh, I see.
Son of a...
All right, well, I hope Dad put the bags of seed in the grain drill so that he could keep going with the cover crops. He's going to that field by the road that I was on, and here's a lesson for anyone doing cover crops. Whatever your seed distributor tells you the weight of your bags are, if you get it in bag form, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys are big and are getting it in bulk, but we got ours in bags, so if they tell you what the bag weight is, check it. We were told those were 60-pound bags, so we were basing our application rate off of the number of bags in the drill, and then we couldn't figure out why we had so many bags. Well, it turns out they were 50-pound bags, and so Dad over-applied a bit to that first field. That's okay. If we need some more seed, we can always get some more from the distributor, but it'd be nice to get it close to correct. They're supposed to be a little over 60 pounds, 64 pounds per acre, so with our grain drill you can only sort of guess at that and then run it for a little while and then see where you're ending up and then adjust. So that's how we're doing it. In the meantime, I'm gonna start combining in the big field with all the ragweed. Got about an hour and a half here before supper time, so I'm gonna go around the outside of that and try to open it up and see how it is from mud and how well this ragweed's gonna thresh through and see what we can do. Alright, well, we got a little bit of mud. I'm around the back side of the field here, out by the meadow. Sure is pretty back here. But right in front of me, I got some standing water, so I'm gonna scout here a little bit and try to decide where it's safe to go. Look at this gorgeous evening. Wow. In fact, I have to say, all of today has been pretty perfect. I think tomorrow's supposed to be pretty much the same, and that would be fantastic for us. I just got done with supper and came down here. We got to fuel up the combine. Dad didn't get fuel for the big barrel on the farm here. Well, he did. He got diesel fuel, but this takes gasoline, so we just got cans of it. So I'm going to top this off so it's ready for tomorrow. I did get a couple of nice rounds made in this big field around the outside. Threshed the ragweed through. That went pretty well, actually. Dad managed to get all of the field by our driveway and the other one out by the county, half of the other one out by the county road, planted into that cover crop mix. I have to look up and see what that mix is, and then I'll tell you. I'll include it somewhere in this video so that everyone knows what we're actually planting out there. It would be nice if we could get the rest of the beans out here, and then as soon as he's got that seed in, though, we could use just a light rain to help set that seed and help it germinate. But I don't even want to suggest such a thing, because I know so many farmers are still running behind on their harvesting, and we need a couple more good days ourselves just to get the beans out, to say nothing of the corn, which is going to be later on anyway. So that's the end of a great day out here, and tomorrow should be just the same, I hope, and we're getting her done.